Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to day 21 of running every day for 30 days. It was actually yesterday, today's day 22, my run is done, it's out of the way, complete, feeling fantastic about that. But I wanted to address yesterday in an individual video because I talked a big game, I really did. On day 20, I got home late and there was a 5-kilometer fun run that was being held the next day that I had great intentions of doing, but unfortunately I didn't want to get up. Old habits die hard, guys, and I simply struggle to get up early. I do until I've had enough sleep, which is for me at the moment at least 8 hours if I can get it. I ain't getting up. I'm not getting up because it's going to sacrifice my positivity throughout the day. I feel like if I'm going to get up after something like 5 or 6 hours sleep rather than 8, that is really going to negatively impact my day. So I wasn't prepared to do it, but I did know that I had to at least get a run in. It wasn't going to be in a competition, which would have been really interesting, but what I decided to do is actually go to the gym. I got a good workout in, shoulders and triceps, and then following that I went to the treadmill and I said, okay, what can I do that is going to mimic what I may have done this morning in that race? And what I was preparing to do is to set out with a goal of getting under 25 minutes for the 5K. But what that was going to require me to do is to begin the race at a pace of 5 minutes per K. So I went to the treadmill and I began a run. I began Alright, we're going to have to change it up. I'm back on the GoPro. It's been a minute. I haven't used this since day 5, I believe. Either way. Sorry, yeah, we're just drying out a mattress. One of the kids had a wee accident. But as I was saying, I knew that I needed to somewhat make up for the fact that I didn't get that 5K race in, and I needed to mimic what I was going to do. So what I did is begin what I thought was going to be a 5K run at 12 kilometers an hour, which is 5 minutes per K. I did that and I didn't last. I burnt out. I'm not going to lie. I burnt out mentally and physically. So what I did is I stopped after a mile and I said, okay, so I've just done I think it was 8 minutes 20 for the mile. And I said, all right, I'll stop here. I'll let myself get my breath back and I'll go for another mile. But this time I'm going to start even faster. And I'm just going to try and see if I can beat my mile time for one, but also, how it feels to start a race. Well, how long can I maintain something like 4 minutes 10, 4 minutes 15, 4 minutes 20 per K? How long can I actually do that? So I did a second mile and I began that at 4 minutes 20 per K, which was a speed of about 14 kilometers an hour, which is, redlining it for me. That is the speed that I can just about get to when I'm, putting everything into like a final 500 meters or a final kilometer in any particular run. But I decided this time to start at that pace and to see how we went. And I managed to get a mile in 7 minutes and 2 seconds. Which is averaging, if I can just bring it up here. So the first mile was 8 minutes 20 seconds, which is averaging 5 minutes 13 per K, which is, pretty damn average. I realized that I could continue this for 5Ks. I could try and, duplicate what I was going to do on that race, but I just didn't have it in me. But what I did have in me is another mile at least. So I did that second mile in a time of 7 minutes and 2 seconds, which is averaging 4 minutes 24 per K, which is, like I said before, pretty much redlining it for me. I was absolutely gasping for air. I don't know if I could have continued that for any longer if I even wanted to. Certainly not for 5Ks. So, it's such a difference. It's surprising. It doesn't look like much on paper, but the difference between something like 6 minutes per K down to 5 minutes per K and then down to something like 4.5 minutes per K is huge. It's just massive, and it's proving to be really, really difficult. You know, not only physically but mentally. I feel like mental preparation for something like that, something that you've never done before, a speed that you've never really done before, is going to be key. So I'll work on that. But I did get a couple of miles in, and I did get a 7 minute and 2 second mile, which is pretty good for me. It's not my best so far. I think the best mile I've done was earlier on in the piece, about a week ago, and it was 6 minutes and 47 seconds. So anyway, I just wanted to say, first and foremost, that I did talk a big game about doing this race. I'm really disappointed I didn't get there. But, you know, I still got some hard work in, and I got some experience, and I got 2 attempts at 2 different paces, just seeing how it feels. You know what I mean? Just it's not something I'd normally do, start out that fast, but it is interesting to see how you feel and to see, you know, how long you can keep that up. And a mile is a mile, but it's certainly not 5Ks. We're working on it, slowly but surely. I don't think hitting PBs every single time you run is realistic. I feel like at this stage, you know, for me to feel really, really fresh in the legs, I'm gonna need a few days off, but I'm simply not willing to do that. That's not what the series is about. So I'm finding out things, you know, as far as conditioning, as far as mental preparation, physical preparation, the amount I sweat. I'm looking at my heart rate a lot more now, and I'll mention that in the next video, a bit more about my heart rate, because I have been monitoring it, and it's interesting, you know. Basically, what you want to do is you want to be able to maintain a certain level of heart rate, but over time increase the pace that you can perform at, whilst maintaining a heart rate under a certain number. And for me at the moment, that mark is around about the 150 to 153 beats per minute. I've found that anything above that, I do start to tire, I do start to wear out, and I have to slow down. I simply have to. You know, for me, I don't think it's realistic to jump, you know, up in pace too quickly. I feel like it's going to be a slow and steady process to be able to jump up in pace, you know, from that 6 minute mark all the way to the 5 minute mark, yet keep my heart rate at that 150 to 150 beats per minute mark. I feel like that's going to be a really long process. I don't think 30 days is going to be enough, but I'll give it my best shot. That's enough from me today. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.